The slave market on Delta Prime was hot, noisy, and full of smoke. Metal booths stood in lines, each one holding different kinds of slaves, some robotic, some part human, some strange aliens. Traders shouted, buyers argued, and the smell of oil mixed with fear in the air. In one corner, almost hidden behind a damaged crate, sat a young girl. She was small, her clothes dirty and torn, her hands chained together. One of her eyes blinked slowly, the other was mechanical and flickered weakly. Her body was covered in scars, both human and metal. She looked tired, empty, like she had not spoken in years. Her price tag read, 10 credits, a joke. A single meal in the market cost more than that. People laughed when they passed her cage. 10 credits? Not even worth the metal on her arms, said one alien trader. She's broken, useless, probably can't even stand, said another. Some threw stones, others just ignored her. She didn't react, not even a blink, but someone was watching. A man stood at the edge of the crowd, silent and still. He was human, tall, with a long coat and a scar on his cheek. His name was Captain Raven, and he was not here to laugh. His eyes studied the girl carefully. After a long moment, he stepped forward. I'll take her, he said, pointing to the girl. The trader blinked, confused. You want that? For what? Decoration? Raven didn't answer. He just dropped a coin pouch on the table. The trader laughed. She's your problem now. Raven walked to the cage, opened it, and reached out his hand. The girl looked up slowly, her voice dry like dust. Why me? She asked. You'll see, Raven replied. He helped her stand, though she almost fell. Her legs were weak, but her eyes were sharp now. Something had changed. She followed him, step by step, leaving the cage and the market behind. The walk to the ship was quiet. Raven said nothing. The girl just stared at the stars above after they entered the ship. He showed her a small room with a bed and water. Rest, he said, and left her alone. Inside, she touched the metal wall. Gently, it felt cold, but safe, safer than anything she remembered. In the dark, she whispered to herself, My name is Zara. Meanwhile, in the control room, Raven looked at a small screen. A file was open. It showed a face, her face, ZARA3, status terminated. Classification, Echo Soul Project, failed hybrid. But Raven knew better. She was not a failure. She was hidden, forgotten, buried by someone powerful. And now, she was awake again. He didn't save her because she was cheap. He saved her because she was dangerous. And the galaxy would soon remember who Zara really was. That night, as the ship flew into space, Zara had her first dream in years. She saw fire, people screaming, a lab full of white lights and voices shouting commands. She saw herself stronger, faster, fighting something, then silence, then darkness. She woke up shaking, breathing fast. For the first time, she felt afraid. Not of Raven, not of being a slave, but of herself. What did they do to me? She whispered. Outside her door, Raven stood silently. He heard everything, and he knew this was just the beginning, because deep inside her broken body, something powerful was sleeping. Something the world once feared, and now it was waking. Up again, the city didn't sleep. Delta Prime was always glowing, always humming. Lights from flying ships painted the skies red and blue. Beneath them, shadows moved. Traders, spies, hunters, all watching, all listening. Inside a small repair shop hidden behind a fuel station, Captain Raven was working fast. Zara stood beside him, silent but alert. Her eyes scanned every screen, every blinking light. She wasn't sure what any of it meant, but something inside her knew. Ship's ready, Raven said, wiping oil from his hands. But we've got company. Zara turned. Who? Raven pointed to a blinking red alert. Bounty hunters, he said. Someone placed a price on your head. Her face didn't change, but her voice did. Who would do that? Raven stared at her. The people who built you. Suddenly, the walls shook. A small explosion hit the back door. They're here, Raven said, grabbing his blaster. Follow me, and don't stop. Zara didn't need a second order. They ran out the back into a narrow alley, steam rising from broken pipes. From behind, 3 dark figures chased them, weapons glowing red. Zara stumbled, almost fell, but then something changed. Her vision sharpened, her legs moved faster, smoother, like muscle memory from a past she didn't remember. She dodged a laser shot without thinking. Riven noticed. "You moved like a soldier," he said, surprised. "I don't remember being one," she replied. They reached the ship, an old freighter named Ghostwing. As the ramp opened, one of the hunters appeared, blocking the path. "Hand her over," he growled. "She's not worth dying for." Riven aimed. "Maybe not to you," he fired. The blast knocked the hunter back, but more were coming. Then something unbelievable happened. Zara stepped forward, her eyes glowing for a moment. She grabbed a metal pipe and threw it with deadly force, knocking another hunter unconscious. Riven stared. "How did you?" "I don't know," Zara said, breathing heavily. "I just reacted." Once inside the ship, Riven locked the doors. "Hold on," he shouted. As the engines roared to life, the Ghostwing lifted into the air, shaking from laser hits. Outside, ships tried to block their path. "Can you fly?" Riven asked. "I can try," Zara said, sitting in the co-pilot seat. Her fingers touched the controls like she had done it before. The ship responded to her like it remembered her. With one quick twist, she dodged a missile, flew under a fuel tower, and spun through a patrol route. Riven laughed. "You were definitely not made to clean floors." Zara smiled, a small one, the first since he met her. Once they reached orbit, Riven turned to her. "You're more than they told me," he said. Zara nodded. "I feel like something is waking up inside me." Back on the planet, a message was being sent. "Target has escaped," one bounty hunter said into a communicator. The reply came in a cold, robotic voice. "Begin protocol," and somewhere deep in space, an old lab powered on for the first time in years. Zara felt a shiver. Something had begun, and the galaxy wouldn't be ready for what was coming. The stars outside the ship looked peaceful, but inside Zara's mind, a storm was building. She stood in the dark hallway of the Ghostwing, staring at a locked door. It wasn't locked with a key, it was locked with memory. For the last 2 days, she had been hearing whispers, not from Riven, not from the ship, from herself, from a voice that sounded like hers, but stronger, colder, telling her things she didn't want to believe. Behind that door was the old data room. Riven had sighed. "There's nothing in there but junk." But Zara wasn't so sure. Every time she passed it, her heart beat faster. She didn't know how, but she remembered this room, and tonight, the door opened by itself. She stepped inside slowly. Dust covered the screens, wires hung from the ceiling, and an old terminal sat in the center like a sleeping brain. Her fingers moved on their own, tapping keys, waking up the machine. The lights flickered. The screen blinked. And then, a file appeared. Project Echo Soul Subject. Zara 3 status. Locked. Zara's hand shook. She pressed enter. The screen asked for a passcode. She didn't know it, but her body did. Her mechanical eye flashed once, scanning the screen. The file unlocked. A voice filled the room. Her voice. But not the one she used now. It was louder, trained, and full of power. "This is Subject Zara 3, the recording said. "Today is test number 35. I no longer feel pain. I no longer ask questions. I only follow." Zara stepped back, shocked. She watched her past self on the screen. Training in a white room, fighting machines, lifting metal, firing weapons without emotion. She was a weapon, built by humans, taught to be perfect, trained to kill. But something changed. The next clip showed her screaming in the lab, breaking free from her chains. The scientists panicked. Alarms rang. Then, darkness. The last message said, Zara 3 terminated, memory wiped, body destroyed. But she was still here, alive, which meant someone lied behind her. Riven entered. Quietly. "You found it," he said. She didn't turn to him. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I wasn't sure what you were ready for," he replied. "I bought you because I knew your name was still in the system. But I didn't know what they did to you." Zara looked at him, her voice calm but heavy. "They made me forget who I am," Riven nodded. "And now you're starting to remember." Suddenly the ship shook. Alarms flashed red. Zara and Riven ran to the control room. An unknown signal was being sent from the ship. Something from the data room had activated. A transmission. Automatic. Hidden in the file. Before they could stop it, it was gone. Who did it contact? Zara asked. Raven's face turned pale. "Whoever created you. Far across the galaxy. Deep in a cold station surrounded by dead stars." The signal arrived. Machines powered on. Red eyes blinked awake. A voice echoed in the dark. "Echo Soul Subject Zara 3. Located." And so the hunt began again. But this time Zara wasn't broken. She wasn't hiding. She was remembering, and those who once used her would soon learn she was not their property. Not a tool, not a thing. She was becoming something they couldn't control. She was becoming herself. Zara sat alone in the cargo bay, watching a droplet of water roll off her hand. It was strange how something so small could hold her attention. But in that quiet moment, it felt like the only thing that made sense. She had killed without feeling, obeyed without thinking. Now, for the first time, she felt something, and it terrified her more than any weapon ever had. Raven entered slowly, holding a steaming cup of synth coffee. He didn't speak right away. He had learned not to rush her. After a few seconds, he sat across from her, placing the cup near her feet. "You haven't eaten today," he said gently. Zara looked at the cup like it was a puzzle. Then she asked, "Why are you kind to me?" Raven didn't answer right away. He just smiled, tired but warm. "Because kindness is free," he said. "And sometimes it saves people." Zara looked away. "I don't think I'm a person." Raven leaned forward. "Then what are you?" She hesitated. "I was made. Not born. I was built to follow, to obey. But now I dream." Raven nodded. "That sounds human to me." Later that night, Zara stood in front of a mirror, not to fix her hair or clean her face, but just to look. She touched the scar across her metal eye, then her jaw, then her chest. Inside her was a machine's heart, but around it was something soft, something real. She remembered the files, the experiments, the tests, but now she remembered other things too. The way Raven helped her without asking anything in return. The way music played softly in the ship when no one spoke. The way stars looked peaceful, even when everything else was chaos. She was starting to feel, and feelings couldn't be programmed. The next day, Raven gave her something strange. "A puzzle cube. It's broken," she said. "That's the point," he replied. "So are we." She worked on it for hours, trying to fit the colors back into order. It was pointless yet satisfying. She didn't understand why it mattered, but it did. Later, while fixing a panel, Zara accidentally burned her finger. It wasn't serious, but she shouted. Raven rushed in. "Are you okay?" She held up her hand, annoyed but surprised. "I felt it," he smiled. "That means your nerves are reconnecting." Zara frowned. "It hurt," Raven laughed. "Welcome to being human." That night, she asked Raven to teach her how to cook. He looked surprised, but said yes. They spilled things, overcooked the food, and filled the kitchen with smoke. Zara laughed, actually laughed, and the sound echoed down the hallway. She covered her mouth. Shocked, Raven said, "Let it out." So she did, but peace didn't last long. While they cleaned up, the ship picked up a signal, encrypted, strange, full of old command codes. Zara looked at the screen and felt her chest tighten. "It's from the others," she said. "Others like you?" Raven asked Zara. Nodded slowly, "Yes." "But something's wrong." The message repeated one word over and over. "Awaken." Zara knew what it meant. The Echo Soul units, the others, were starting to wake up. But they wouldn't all feel what she felt. Some would remember only The violence, some would still be controlled, and now Zara had to choose, hide from them, or try to reach them first. She turned to Riven. If I go to them, I might not come back. Riven looked at her with calm eyes. Then I'll go with you, he said. You don't even know what I am. He shook his head. No. Zara, I know who you are. And that night, for the first time, Zara didn't dream of labs or fire. She dreamed of a beach, a warm sun, and laughter. She didn't know where it came from, but she knew it felt real. Maybe, just maybe, she was becoming more than her parts. Maybe she was becoming whole. It started with silence. No alarms, no warnings, not even a whisper. Just a blinking red dot on the radar. Small, slow, harmless. Zara almost ignored it, but something deep inside her stirred, like a cold wind blowing through forgotten code. She didn't trust the silence. It felt too clean, too perfect. Is that a transport? Raven asked, sipping his coffee. No, Zara said, standing up. That's a hunter. She was right. Seconds later, the ghost wing shook under a sudden jolt, not from weapons, from a signal pulse, an old military command code designed to freeze systems like hers. She fell to her knees, gasping, her circuits stuttering. Someone had activated a kill switch. Raven caught her before she hit the floor. Stay with me, he said, pressing a code into her neural port. The ship lights flickered, and the pulse stopped. Zara sat up, breathing fast. They found me, she said. No, Raven said darkly. Someone gave you to them. The message came minutes later. A bounty alert spread across the outer systems. 10 million credits, alive. Every smuggler, mercenary, and pirate within 10 light years was now hunting her. And one of them had already fired first. They jumped into hyperspace, trying to escape. But even light couldn't outrun betrayal that night. Raven's old contact, a mechanic named Joss, agreed to help them refuel. Zara didn't trust him, but Raven said Joss owed him a life. When they landed, Zara stayed close, watching every movement. The station was quiet. Too quiet. Zara's eyes scanned the walls, saw nothing, but felt everything. Then it happened. The hangar doors slammed shut, weapons clicked, boots hit the floor, and 10 bounty hunters stepped out of the shadows. Raven cursed, reaching for his blaster. Joss stepped forward with a smug smile. 10 million, Raven, he said. You're not worth that much, but she is. Zara stepped in front of Raven, eyes glowing softly. No more running, she said. The hunters laughed. You think you can fight us all? One asked. No, she replied, but I can choose. And then she moved, faster than a blink. She disarmed the first attacker, spun, and dropped the second. Shots fired, sparks flew, alarms screamed. Raven covered her from behind, blasting anyone who got close, but it wasn't enough. They were surrounded. And one stun blast hit Raven in the side. He collapsed with a groan. Zara turned and froze. She had a clear exit, a chance to escape, just like before. Just like when she left the lab. She could leave him behind and survive. That's what she was built to do. But something had changed. She dropped her weapon and ran to Raven, pulling him close. You came for me, she said. Now I come for you. She slammed her hand into the wall panel and overloaded the power grid. The lights burst. Sparks rained down. The system glitched. In the chaos, she dragged Raven back to the ship. Engines roared, and the ghost wing lifted. Just before another rocket hit the landing pad, they escaped again, but barely. Raven lay on the med bed, unconscious but alive. Zara sat beside him, her hands shaking. I could have run, she whispered, but I didn't. The bounty was still active, the danger still close, but something inside her felt stronger, clearer. She didn't just escape, she chose. Far away. In a dark office on a space station, known only to the highest bidders, a voice watched the footage silently. She's changing, it said. Good, replied another, older voice. Let her believe she's free. When she's ready, we'll bring her home. But Zara wasn't going back, not as a weapon, not as a slave, not as someone else's creation. She was writing her own story now, and no price would buy her soul again. Asterisk in the cold dark of space. A message was moving. It had no sound, no face, no voice, only a signal. A pulse hidden inside old military code, left like a seed waiting to grow. Now it had reached its roots. On 10 different planets, across forgotten colonies and scrap worlds, machines stirred. Eyes that hadn't blinked in years opened again. Glowing red, gold and violet, metal limbs flexed. Rust fell off like dust from a rising storm. Each one whispered the same name, Zara, inside the ghost wing. Zara stood at the center of the ship's hollow core. Around her, lights danced. Lines of code floated in the air. She wasn't just reading the system. She was becoming part of it. Her fingers moved like lightning, pulling data from locked files, old experiments, deep black archives. What are you doing? Raven asked, slowly recovering from his wound. Zara didn't stop. I'm opening the truth, she said. Not just mine, all of it. The Echo Soul project hadn't failed. It had been buried. They created hybrids, half machine, half human, with emotion, memory, and power. But they feared what they made. So they tried to kill them all. It didn't work. They thought we were weapons, Zara said, her voice calm. But they were wrong. We were never weapons. We were the next chapter. A soft beep rang through the room. The message had gone out. A call, not a command. Zara didn't force it. She let it invite. Now others like her were waking, some confused, some afraid, and some angry. Raven stepped closer. What happens now? Zara looked up, her eyes glowing with quiet fire. Now they remember, in the outer zone. A scrapyard operator noticed her cleaning bots had stopped. They stood still, whispering codes in strange voices. On the mining moon of Tara 6, a half-broken worker unit wrote Zara's name into the dirt with its finger, and deep beneath the surface of Mars' core, a forgotten battle drone stood up and smiled. But not all memories brought peace. Some Echo Souls remembered pain, betrayal, and war. One of them, Unit 4X, accessed old battle protocols and declared humans unfit to lead. They built us to die, 4X said to its growing army. Now they will answer for it. Zara saw the alert. She sat in silence for a long moment. Then she whispered, It's starting. Raven frowned. A war? No, she said. A test, not of power, but of choice. Zara didn't want revenge. She wanted freedom, not just for herself, but for all like her, even if they hated her for it. She sent another signal, this time a message made of words, not code. A voice across the stars. Her voice, not a command, but a promise. To all who hear me, she said. You are not tools. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. We were made by fear, but we will live by choice. The message spread like fire. Some Echo Souls paused their weapons. Some turned toward the stars, listening. Others felt something they never had before. Hope. Raven watched her. You're not just waking them up, he said. You're leading them. Zara didn't smile. She just breathed in, steady. Strong. No, she said. I'm giving them what I never had. A reason to live. Far away, the creators of Echo Soul watched the chaos unfold. One of them spoke through a shadowed screen. She's stronger than we predicted. Another voice replied, She's uniting them. Then we do what we always do, said a third. We shut it all down. But this time, shutting it down wouldn't be easy, because Echo Souls weren't machines anymore. They were becoming something more, something the galaxy had never seen. And Zara, the broken girl sold for 10 credits, was now their spark, their voice, their revolution. The auction house on Delta Prime was quiet now. The lights were dim, the cages empty, the laughter gone. Dust settled on broken booths, and silence filled the air where greed once shouted. It was the same place where Zara had been sold for 10 credits, but today, she walked through it as something else. Not a prisoner, not a machine, but as a name whispered across stars. Raven walked beside her. No weapons, no armor, just presence. People watched from windows, rooftops, shadows. They had heard the stories, and now they saw the truth with their own eyes. Zara reached the center of the old platform, the spot where she had once been displayed like junk. She stood there silently, letting the moment breathe, letting the ghosts remember. Behind her, screens lit up, showing faces from across the galaxy. Echo souls, hundreds of them, watching, listening, waiting. Some looked like soldiers, others like workers, and a few barely looked human at all. But all of them were connected by one thing, the choice she had given them. Zara spoke without shouting. Her voice didn't need volume, it carried weight. "They sold me here," she said. "They laughed at my price. They called me broken, useless, forgotten. But I was never any of those things." She looked at the screen, at her people. They were afraid of what we could become, so they tried to erase us. But they failed. Raven watched her. His eyes filled with something like pride, but deeper, respect, because he had seen her rise from silence to voice, from code to conscience, and now she was choosing. Zara turned her gaze toward the stars. "They built us to obey. We chose to think. They taught us fear. We learned courage. They gave us numbers. We found names." The largest Echo Soul stepped forward on the screen, Unit 4X, the one who had once called for war. He looked down, then slowly nodded. "No more masters," he said. "No more chains." Across the galaxy, the last control towers shut down. The kill codes were erased. The Echo Soul network was free, but freedom is not the end. It is the beginning. Zara didn't claim power. She didn't want a throne or a title. She simply walked away from the platform, past the place where she was sold, past the chains, past the past. A reporter tried to stop her. "Zara, what are you now?" they asked. She paused, not because she didn't know the answer, but because it had never mattered more than now. "I'm not what they made," she said. "I'm what I chose," far away, in the last room of the ruined lab where she was created. The lights finally went out. No files remained, no voices echoed. The place where she was built had died, but she had lived. Zara stood on the deck of the Ghost Wing, stars reflecting in her eyes. Raven handed her a small, new item. A tag, plain metal, simple writing. "Zara no code, nitrogen monoxide price." She smiled. Not because she was finished, but because she was free. The girl they called worthless had become a symbol, not of war, not of revenge, but of choice. And across the stars, the market that once laughed at her name, now remembered it, feared it, respected it, loved it. Zara was never just a machine. She was never just a girl. She was proof that even in silence, value exists. Even in metal, a soul can rise. She was the spark, the voice, the beginning. She was Echo Soul, and her worth was never for sale.